audio. That would be weird. Okay, we're in game. Free camera. Hey everyone, welcome back to G League. This is going to be game 2 of our best of 3 set between IG and Tongfu. This is Group B of the group stages of this tournament. As always, top 3 teams advance out of these groups. Both teams are 1-0 at the moment, so a pretty significant match. Last game worked out pretty well for IG. Every single lane worked out great, and Tongfu, maybe a few missteps in the draft here and there. I think I've already introduced myself. As always, I am Basekip. A reminder that Beyond the Summit and Joined are both covering this event as well, so if you don't enjoy my coverage, then you can always check those guys out. Do the tournament, do the players, do the teams, do everyone a favor. If you don't enjoy my coverage, then make sure that you still stay on top of it. And that's about it. If anyone's got any replays or anything like that they'd like me to cover, as always, you can just send me a message wherever you see the name Basekip, and I will check it out. Getting underway with the draft, Tongfu are going to start us off with a Bat Rider ban. The Nyx is going to be banned again, and Nyx, from, I guess, out of nowhere, making a huge splash in the metagame at the moment. And it works fantastically as a support. You can't keep sentries up for him all the time, and if you have one more extremely mobile hero, Bounty Hunter, TA, Quap, anyone like that, he's great setup for kills all around the map. And if you're winning, then it's extremely difficult for your opponent to try and grab a gem and out 5-man Dota you. And from there, Nyx just continues to pick you apart. So it makes sense in terms of having that Nyx ban. Tongfu are going to opt to ban out the Lone Druid, so we might have to see a Luna or something like that as the carry for IG this game. And it seems to be the trend that if Lone Druid stays in the pool, at least one team is going to opt to pick him up. Undying's going to be the ban, and Tongfu actually immediately opt for the Darkseer, so gonna secure themselves one of the best offlaners in the game. And good thing about the Darkseer as well is that if he's having a hard time on the offlane, you can just send him into the jungle for a little bit, get up a few levels, which is always a nice option to have. I mean, compare the Darkseer on the offlane to someone like the Windrunner or the Beastmaster, or even the Bounty Hunter. He's probably got one of the best recovery mechanisms if things start to go badly for him, or if you just need some space in the mid game to get those items up. It's always nice to get the Darkseer as well. It means you can get supports that aren't necessarily natural mech or pipe carriers, since the Darkseer can build a mech and a pipe of his own. So Tongfu secured themselves obviously a very strong hero in the DS, and in terms of offlaners go, the best defensive team fight really as well. But IG gonna opt to pick up the TA and the mag, with the TA probably heading towards mid. It'll be interesting to see where they run this mag in lane. He could just be up on the safe lane, trying to duke it out against the Darkseer, but it's not the best matchup for him. Could see him in a defensive tri-lane as well. Again, you can run your initiator on a defensive tri-lane, get him that super fast blink, look to make things happen in the mid game. But IG still plenty of options in terms of lanes right now. And Tongfu gonna go back for the Anti-Mage again. A little bit unusual. I mean, last game we saw the Anti-Mage running on mid, was pulled to PMS, and had the support from the Shadow Demon trying to help him out against the TA, but in the end it didn't really work out in their favor. A lot committed, not a lot gained, and as soon as TA even started getting some assists going, really wasn't all that shut down, and Tongfu gonna pick up the Shadow Demon again as well. So we might see the Lina or the Leshrac as the other support. Again, two supports that don't really naturally carry or carry a mech or anything like that, but the Darkseer helps fill that role. And IG, what are they going to opt for here? We saw the Keeper of the Light as their support in the last game, so it's going to be Caudle again. And it might just be the Magnus on the offlane here, though Tongfu have some pretty good tools to deal with him if he is on that offlane. Still can get the levels up, but the Skewer isn't that ridiculous escape that it once was. And PL going to be the ban for Tongfu, so IG still plenty of options in terms of that carry. If we're looking at strength carries, there's still things like the Nyx, who's been pretty popular of late, or the Luna does remain in the pool as well. IG, again, still running a little bit light in terms of stun, so it would be nice to see a stunning support. It would be nice to see a stunning carry or a stunning support up on that defensive tri lane, which it looks like they might be running. They could, again, just switch it straight over to an aggressive try, again, depending on how confident they're feeling in this game. And Tongfu are going to opt to ban out the Luna here, so it looks like it's just going to be pretty heavy carry bans for them. And Brewmaster banned out by IG, removing, well, I mean, they've been banning out the Night Stalker and the Brewmaster pretty heavily. They are both Well, they are both pretty strong mid heroes. The Brewmaster is a little bit difficult to pin down in lanes as well, and if you can keep your opponent guessing, then that does give you the upper hand coming out of the draft. So Tong Fu might just be one more carry, perhaps something like the Lifestealer. Who else have we actually been seeing lately? The Lone Druid's been taken out. Tong Fu just really heavy bans on those carries. If IG just want to take this late and deal with the Anti-Mage then they could opt for something like the Faceless Void, who we have been seeing a little bit of recently. But he was mainly there as a counter to the Sven, and I guess that segues me into bringing up the Sven, which could be the option for IG. It gives them a stun, gives them great AoE physical damage. He's a ridiculous combo with the Magnus, and he hasn't suffered all that many nerfs recently. He still brings that crazy cleave that he always did. So Rubik going to be the ban out here. Tong Fu can't really pick up the Sven. It would be way too weird. They could get a support Sven just to try and deny it to IG, but I think IG might just opt for it. And Queen of Pain going to be banned out, so even more mids by IG there. Again, Tong Fu are still probably looking for one. They could run the Darkseer on mid, especially if the TA is going to be there, and then try and pick up another offlaner. There are still a few options in the pool as far as that goes. Beastmaster, Winner are all options. Beastmaster is going to be picked up here. It might be the Beastmaster heading towards mid, and then Darkseer is still on the off lane. Beastmaster on the off lane isn't really that great, especially on the Radiant side. He can't stack up his Ancients. He can't stack up the Radiant Ancients all that well with the boar, since it's a pretty long trip. And yeah, we could see a jungle Beastmaster, maybe Darkseer heading towards mid, and then Tong Fu just playing that extremely defensive sort of Radiant strat that we have seen from a few teams in this tournament so far. And last pick for them, probably just going to be another support to combo with the Shadow Demon, someone with some damage and a follow-up stun. So gonna guess the Lina. It could be the Leshrac as well, depending on how much push or anti-push they feel like they need. IG is just going to be the Sven here. It could be, they could go for something a little bit more unusual. Again, probably feeling confident about their position in this game right now. But I mean, with the Magnus, how can you say no to Sven? Doing more damage to his secondary targets than he does to his primary targets. And in terms of their support, maybe just pick up some stun, maybe pick up a little bit of team fight on top. Something to combo with the Magnus wouldn't be bad. They could pick up the Disruptor. In fact, have been wanting to see more of the Disruptor, though. It is a little bit unpopular as far as supports go, and I guess has the potential to shoot you in the foot as much as he has the potential to do amazing things. And IG just weighing their options right now. A little bit interesting to see. I mean, what's it going to be? They've got a great cadre of heroes so far. Maybe just thinking about how lanes are going to work out, or maybe the debate is whether or not they should try to run an aggressive try as well. I mean, they could still switch over in that direction with their last two pickups. So it's going to be the Sand King again. So they get that stunning support, they get some more AoE damage on top. So I mentioned the Disruptor, but Sand King filling a similar role and offers them that stun. Dazzle is actually going to be the last pickup for Tong Fu. We saw LGD Int running a very similar combo with the Shadow Demon. Just because those illusions, you can heal them with the Shadow the Shadow Weave, and it means it does a pretty significant amount of damage, but they don't really have the combo with the Kunkka or anything like that, which LGD Int we're choosing to run. And IG, are they going to opt for this trialing one more time? We might just see the Winner again if it's going to be that way. I guess if it works, then why mess with it? Or perhaps just picking up a carry here and then sending Magnus towards the off lane. But it is looking like it might be that offensive tri-lane again. And it's actually going to be Shadow Fiend. Wow, so even more AoE damage on top of what they've already got. If Magnus gets a big ultimate, everyone's going to die. Burrow Strike, Requiem of Souls, Epicenter, Illuminate, TA Splash. It's all on the Magnus to get that set up, but if it happens, that's going to be absolutely catastrophic. So for IG, we're going to have Ferrari 430 playing the TA. Big surprise there. Faith is going to be on the Keeper of the Light. Zoe is playing that Shadow Fiend. Sean is going to be on the Sand King. YYF playing the Magnus. And then over on Tong Fu, we've got Mu with his very, very snazzy looking Beastmaster heading towards mid. It's going to be Long DD on the Dazzle. Veronica is going to be on the Darkseer. Sansheng playing that Shadow Demon. And Hao heading down towards bot as the Anti-Mage. So it's going to be a solo safe lane Anti-Mage pooled a little bit of regen, starts off with a poor man's shield. Neither of those items are his own regen that's coming from the supports. And Tong Fu choosing to run a little bit of a weird offensive tri-lane on top, though it does have some good damage potential. Again, I touched on the combo between the Shadow Wave, and the Disruption. You can heal the illusions, which does some good damage to whoever was trapped, and the Soul Catcher on top makes it a pretty potent combo. What are lanes going to be for IG? They're actually going back to the defensive tri-lane as well. Magnus going to be down there, and it's actually a solo Zoe on the Shadow Fiend towards top. And first point picked up in Necromastery. Nothing too unusual there. But I guess IG, maybe not calling these lanes 100%. We might see a lane swap up once Shadow Fiend realizes that he's up against an offensive tri-lane on top. Since there's just no way for him to deal with it. I mean, if you thought we saw a sad Invoker in the last game, then this is going to be one sad SF in this game against this offensive tri. But Long DD actually heading down towards bot right now, and Sansheng going that way, so I guess in the end, IG do call the lanes correctly. It's going to be the defensive tri for Tong Fu, even though they pulled a lot of regen on the Anti-Mage. And yeah, Sansheng now going down that way as well. So Long DD moves into position. Faith already going for that early Illuminate again. How? No points up in the Spell Shield just yet. Definitely got the blink first point. Makes sense, especially against especially with the heroes that he's up against. But IG taking full advantage of the fact that AM is not as survivable as he normally is at level 1 and punishing him for it. They've got some great level 1 nukes as well, and IG looking to jack the pull now. And Sansheng, I mean, they've got the Disruption, they've got the Shadow Wave, but not a whole lot to drive people off this bottom lane. And Faith now just going to be throwing down a sentry to try and block out this pull, since they have already used their obs on the rune and just keeping sight. And a fairly unusual Observer Ward here as well, very unlikely to be dewarded, but does offer some good sight and keeps tabs on all of these supports. And I mean, the only real setup for Tong Fu right now is Sansheng getting into position. If the Disruption doesn't connect, then they just don't have any way to try and make a go of it. And even if IG are in a good position, the timing on the Disruption gives enough time for either Faith to channel up the Illuminate, or Chon to try and stun up the Dazzle, which does, you know, shut down the damage potential a little bit there. And we've got one more pause at the moment. Mid is going to be, well, it's going to be Beastmaster up against the TA. It's not a bad matchup for the Beastmaster, in fact. Opting for that early point in the Inner Beast does help him keep the wave pushed out a little bit, which does mean he can contest these early runes. At least the TA starts getting points up in that trap. And on top, Shadow Fiend against Darkseer. It's not awful for Darkseer. He can keep the wave pushed up against the tower. Can also look to cut the wave, since there's not a whole lot the Shadow Fiend can do about it. So he's got two potential ways to help, well, try and shut down the SF's farm. Double Ion Shell would be a little bit better at keeping Zoe low in terms of farm, but not as strong in terms of keeping damage on the tower compared to cutting the wave. So there's trade-offs either way, but both are going to be pretty good against the SF. Though Zoe already starting to get those early souls up again. Against only a solo hero, there's not a whole lot to stop him getting those, well, at least just getting the denies, but actually just last hits to start. And still a game of pauses right now, and looks like IG now reconnecting. And Zoe is back. I guess there's only really one passive for Sansheng to make full use of with the Disruption. They will get the minus armor from the presence of the Dark Lord if they disrupt the Shadow Fiend. And those SF Illusions going to be doing some good damage later on in the game. In terms of lanes, I mean, defensive try against defensive try, it's going to come down to kills, it's going to come down to execution. I don't think Tong Fu have a lot of killing potential of their own, but they've got some good survivability. If Hao is in trouble, the defensive disruption and the heal and the grave are both there to keep him alive. So he can play up a little bit, but already chewing through most of his regen right now. And actually opting for a point in Mana Break at level 2 as opposed to getting the Spell Shield. Though, I think the spell spam is going to be relentless until he starts picking it up. So maybe a little bit of a strange choice there. Maybe trying to think, well, maybe thinking that they can try and make something happen early on. And now the go called. Getting back underway with this game. And we've already got Bottle coming out on the Courier Ferrari. 6 for 1, though Mu is actually leading this middle lane right now. Doing a good job of just last hitting against Ferrari. And now just going for it aggressively as well.
Denied.
And that Beastmaster set looks awesome, by the way. I mean, doing this is probably going to miss me a kill on bot, but that set is great. Props to whoever put that together. It's extremely well done. Fits the hero. Great execution. 10 out of 10. But Chon now heading down to camp at the 2-minute rune. He's going to spot out a regen. And Ferrari was actually heading up towards top to check out that. But Chon, in the end, just going to grab that. Unfortunately, on full health and mana regardless. So no big boon for them. Veronica already pretty low up on top. Now up to level 4, however. So can start looking to cut the wave pretty soon. And Zao now catching up a little bit. Will almost be level 4 off that creep wave. Though Veronica, with just the one tool, one deny either way. But he's actually a little bit ahead in terms of XP right now. So, Sansheng throws down a sentry, was able to deward the pull, and they also threw down a sentry, managing to spot out this kind of sneaky observer ward. So good sentry placement there, and denying a lot of sight to IG. They don't have an observer ward to try and spot out any movements of IG, so they're still going to be able to come across and try and interrupt these pulls. But moving into the Radiant safe lane can be a little bit difficult, and if you get split up, can spell trouble. I mean, CYYF just skewering away there, Faith and Chon just a little bit far away. The Illuminate does connect on Sansheng, and moving forward aggressively, even eating a few creep hits there, while IG just do perfectly back off. Again, if they can stay away from the Shadow Demon, if they can stay away from the disruption, then that's the primary source of anything down in this bottom lane. They can't really initiate with the Dazzle, they can't really initiate with the Anti-Mage. The disruption is the start, well, the beginning and the end of the combo. And Mu getting harassed down a little bit on mid, now going back for points in Call of the Wild. Ferrari just bottle crowing up to make sure that he's dominant on this middle lane, but Mu is really keeping the pace at the moment, doing a good job. And looks like I'm getting a little bit of lag now. Hopefully that'll clear up in just a second. Sorry about that, guys. Again, Australian internet, as always. Veronica's got a Soul Ring up on top. How not really able to get that close to the creep wave on bot, but again, can afford to play up a little bit just with the heal spam, the potential for a shallow grave, and the defensive disruption, all to get him out of harm's way. Does not have that point up in the spell shield as well, just to keep him safe. And IG not finding the kills, though they are shutting down the Anti-Mage, at least reasonably well. How is still finding farm. And Veronica pops off his salve on top. Zoe actually doing a great job in this lane, leading the CS right now as well. Veronica might start looking to cut the wave pretty soon, but he's running a little bit low on regen. He's only got that Soul Ring, so it looks like he's only going to be double ion shelling it for now to try and shut down Zoe. But the Shadow Raises softening up the creeps a little bit means that he doesn't take too much damage from these ion shells, and both of those fading right as he gets underneath that tower. Mu, 4-minute rune was a haste for him, and he's got a salve shipped out as well, going for a little bit of a block. Axis fly. Ferrari just heading for some early phase boots. Looks like the bottle is on the Crow right now, so that's going to be dropped off in just a second. And Mu trying to man up. Doesn't quite have enough for the Roar, however, so Ferrari fine to back off. Doesn't have any anti-invis either, so Ferrari could always just hide in that meld at any time. So while Mu is finding good farm, not really shutting down the TA, it's a pretty even trade on mid, and a similar story down on bot, though Tong Fu, defensive Trilon, going to be happier that it's sort of working out the way that it is than IG, who are yet to find any kills, and How with a very aggressive blink forward. Again, the defensive disruption can always buy him time for that to cool down. So it does mean that he can play up a little bit, go for these aggressive pokes on YYF, Faith, and Chon. And Sansheng just hanging off to the side. And First Blood, actually Tron on mid. Sorry about that, not paying enough attention, but looks like Ferrari came in for a dive, and Mu just turning it around with the Roar. Great play by him, and that's a really significant pickup for the Beastmaster on mid. But How now stunned up down on bot, going to be skewered back to the tower as well. Does fortunately have the blink off cooldown, however. And the nukes through, knocking him low. Almost has some Tranquil Boots picked up, but no Ring of Protection. In fact, pops off the salve right now. And IG still all the way back behind their tower. And Mu actually picking up that kill on Ferrari, even without any anti-invis. So it looks like Ferrari really played up looking for that kill, but Mu managing to turn it around, probably with a few auto attacks from the tower. And Mu heads up. The rune's already been taken, however. Zoe is a pretty easy target to gank right now, though has to suspect that Mu is moving off. Mu missing a kill down on bot. How dropping low. If he right-clicks, going to do him in. And actually, with that PMS block, survives for now. Blink just off cooldown. So in the end, it's only the Dazzle taking a fall. And Shallow Grave was used. I'm just not paying enough attention. Mu's heading up towards top. And Zoe playing defensively on top of the tower. Observer Ward goes down as well. So they've got great tabs on him, but this kill needs to connect pretty soon. Otherwise, Mu is just really wasting his time. And Ferrari now heading down towards bot, looking to try and make something happen there. No, just throwing down a trap. Gonna keep farming towards his blink, in fact. And Zoe's just gonna hide back in the trees. Mu comes in. He's got the roar, looking for it. The TP support already coming in. Veronica surges forward, but Chon is already here, and Mu just dragging those creeps away. Veronica's out of mana, does have enough up his sleeve for that surge, so looks like he's going to be fine to escape, but Mu spending a lot of time in Chon putting an end to that aggression just with one TP in. And Happy New Year, Mr. Yeah, Happy New Year, Mr. Genesis. But yes, very ironic. I said that I would probably miss a kill if I was looking at Beastmaster, but not looking at Beastmaster actually missed me that first blood there. And a second kill, so hopefully I'll pick it up from here. Sorry about that, guys. So smoke from Veronica and Mu heading towards mid, but support is already moving into position as well. Ferrari's got a double damage rune up too. This could be a little bit disastrous, but they want this kill regardless. They've got 2 Ion Shells up, and Ferrari's all the way back on the other high ground. Axes fly. Those Ion Shells just doing way too much damage. Ferrari playing up really aggressively and paying for it in the end. So Tongfu connect to kill. They now lead by 1. YYF just hanging out on mid while Ferrari's dead. He'll probably be able to get up to level 6. So a minor, well, I guess a minor boon for him, just out of that death from the TA. And how? Now finding some good farm down on bot. The tri lane has sort of dispersed to the wind. I mean, we've still got Chon up on top, probably looking to run a few pulls just to try and get that level 6 up. And this is something that IG This is something that IG do quite frequently, in terms of just trying to get those big ultimates up on the supports, make sure that they get XP, and they get the farm as well. And the trap goes on mid. YYF going to skewer forward, though he doesn't have the reverse polarity. Throws down the nuke, but it's just a little bit of aggression from IG, not able to connect that kill. And Sansheng and Long DD coming from the side. Sansheng has some boots up, but again, they really need to connect that, really need to connect the disruption, try and find a kill. And Mu still with the ultimate on cooldown for a few more seconds. Would have been extremely important to have that on top. How gets clipped by the Illuminate down on bot, but he's got Tranquil Boots, he's got a Ring of Health. His sustain is absolutely fine. Veronica in trouble on top. The races connect. There's a kill. And well played by Zoe and Chon. Veronica just playing up a little bit, well, playing a little bit too aggressively perhaps. So IG even up the score right now. I mean, Veronica didn't have any sight or anything. They did have the sight from the Observer Ward, so knew that Chon wasn't pulling, that he was probably just hanging off to the side. But the Bar Strike and the races connect. Tongfu now looking for smoke. Sansheng's going around this way, and Long TT up around here. Mu just waiting off for the rune. Can they connect this kill? There's a disruption, but there's no follow-up just yet. And Zoe and Chon just looking to escape. Long DT can get stunned up as Chon makes his move, the surge forward, but it's on Veronica. They couldn't get that on Mu or anyone like that. So 4 heroes go top, but they don't find anything. Maybe a little bit of a miscommunication there from Tongfu. Sansheng came in really aggressively, found the disruption, but there just wasn't the support ready. And IG heads straight onto mid. The fortification pops as well, but looks like it might be the tier 1 picked up. Tongfu might try and trade for the tier 1 on top. Looks like they might be able to, but the fortification pops as well. So keeping that slowed down, and the tier 1 on mid is already gone. Veronica coming forward aggressively. Faith is up here trying to slow down the push, but looks like the tower will be killed off by the Radiant there. So Tongfu splitting the gold evenly, actually getting a little bit more out of it that way as well. Ferrari getting quite close to his Blink Dagger on mid, just needs another couple of minutes to finish that one up. How looks like it's just going to be a Battle Fury for him. Tongfu aren't really feeling the pressure just yet. They found some nice trades as well, and really relying on this Anti-Mage to carry them out in the late game. IG, I guess, a little bit more mid-game oriented in terms of their lineup, and they've got some great team fight to sort of back up these pushes, which they should be looking to make in, I guess, a couple of minutes. They've now got the Epicenter. Well, Epicenter is now up on Sean with that creep wave picked up. And with the reverse polarity and the Epicenter, they've got absolutely ridiculous teamfight potential. We're looking to pick up another easy tower on mid, but YYF and Ferrari are here to put an end to that. Hao is just going to continue to farm. This is going to be the story of the game for Tong Fu. They're relying on the anti-mage to be able to take this out late. And IG, they don't really have a carry that can stand up against him in the ultra late game, though the damage, I mean, between the minus armor from the meld and from the presence of the Dark Lord, the physical damage is going to be catching up with the AM pretty well in the late game. And Hao able to pick up the 12-minute rune there as that haste spawns. I mean, wards, a lot invested right now from IG. They've got 3 wards up on the map, which means that this is unless they don't have wards up for a little while later on, unless they have a blind spot, it means that they're down to 2 wards every 6 minutes for the rest of the game. So investing a lot of sight right now, in fact. And Hao still just farming up down on bots. We've got a smoke from Chon and YYF heading towards mid, where Mu and Long DD are looking to pick up this tower. Heading down into the river, YYF and Chon making their way into position. The trap, there's the slow. YYF looking for the reverse polarity. Only connects on Long DD, who is immediately disrupted and use the shallow grave as well. Chon not able to get into that ultimate. The roar stopping him off there. Still nobody dead. Long DD dies to the right click, but the vacuum comes back through. Veronica now manning up. Chon drops low. Bar striking up onto the high ground. Still okay. Hao looking for kills. Comes in with the right click. Zoe now with the TP in. And he's got a shadow amulet picked up, so it's going to be a Lothar's. But in the end, Tong Fu, good turnaround. Not great combination with the shallow grave and the disruption, but Mo, good reaction, was able to stop the Epicenter and really turning that teamfight around there. And yeah, so it's going to be a Lothar's for Zoe. He's actually finished that up right now. And Hao, happy with a kill, heads down towards bot, getting very, very close to that Battle Fury, in fact. Pretty good timing, especially given that he was up against an offensive tri-lane for the first few minutes of the game. But could afford to play aggressively again. He had the shallow grave and the disruption backing him up at all times. And now, well, this time around, we're going to have 4 points up in the blink. It's not going to be 1-1-1 stats, a la Burning. And Faith stacking up the Ancients in just a little bit, but it looks like the Hawk might have actually blocked that, perhaps. And I guess it can, so good play there by Moop. Ferrari able to pick up the 14-minute rune, so that's an invis for him, though the boar did have tab. Well, the boar and the hawk had tabs on that, so might not be able to find all that much. And Tong Fu now with the smoke of their own, trying to find whatever they can. Ferrari just going to be cleaning up those Ancients, though it does already have a Blink Dagger picked up right now. So Tong Fu just smoked off to the side, trying to see if anyone would go on Hao, trying to use him as bait, and Veronica all the way up on top. Not sure what he was doing up here, but is killed off by a four-man gank from IG. So Veronica a little bit weird there. Sorry about missing that kill. Again, guys, I guess map awareness just not on top today. So Tong Fu, they head towards bot, and Faith immediately here with only the rank to eliminate, trying to slow down this push. And the spam from YYF cleaning up the creep waves pretty well. Chon comes forward. They've got that Epicenter off cooldown in just a few seconds. Veronica's going to be up pretty soon as well. He's heading towards a mech. He is actually quite close, and the Keeper of the Light putting a very quick end to that push with that Illuminate spam. And Ferrari, what did he just have dropped off? Looks like it was just the magic wand. Zoe's back to farming up on top. And might just see a BKB before anything big happens. For IG. Ferrari looking for a kill on mid, just staying on top of Hao right now. Not sure if he would be able to be bursted down, and especially with Sansheng and Long DD there. They've got enough defensive abilities to go both ways on these supports. YYF throws down the reverse polarity, and Hao drops low from the tower hits. Disruption on Ferrari, but he wants Sangshen. There's the poison touch as well, dropping low, hides in the meld. And looks like that might be the end of it here. The poison touch still ticking away on that Blink Dagger. Zoe comes in for one backstab hit from that Lothar's, picking up that kill. So in the end, big engagement, quite a few big abilities used, but only the one kill going either way. And YYF will pop the reverse polarity. I mean, one thing that I was going to mention is that if they go on the Shadow Demon, then there's the defensive disruption to help him out. If they go on the got. If they go on the Dazzle, then there's the Defensive Disruption to help him out. If they go on the Shadow Demon, there's always the Shallow Grave to sort of save his life. So it's a nice little combo back and forth, but doesn't have the strongest damage potential or anything like that. And Sansheng going for the Shadow Poison build as well in this game. Mu now heading towards a Necrobook, so he's got Necro 1 picked up. Not sure why I'm still on Last Hits and Eyes. I will just switch over to Net Worth right now to try and give you guys a little bit of a better picture. Veronica's getting quite close to that mech, so that's a bit of an opportunity for Tongfu, but again, they're still just playing defensively. It's Anti-Mage who's really going to be their saving grace in this game, and picking up a late Quelling Blade as well, just to get through this jungle a little bit faster. It does mean that he can get through the entire Radiant jungle in under a minute, which is just a huge amount of farm for the AM. And IG making great use of the map right now in terms of farm. I mean, Ferrari is jungling, they're stacking up the Ancients, they're clearing out the Ancients. Chon is getting the XP down on bot despite not being able to find all that much. And Veronica is actually making use of the Dire jungle as well. So XP, yeah, pretty much dead even right now. And gold, similar story there, only 1 kill in it. But the late game does favor Tongfu at least a little bit, though Shadow Fiend can be a pretty formidable right clicker in his own right. And Mu and Veronica may be looking for a kill on Zoe. He's actually maybe a little bit out of position right now, getting towards a Yasha. And the Hawk is scouting, but it hasn't spotted him just yet. As the Creep Wave clash, they're going to spot him out. Now moving in position, the Surge on Mu. There's the Dust and the Roar. They need to get on top with these Ion Shells, but there's the damage. Zoe is going to be taking a fall. So good gank from Tongfu. It's a pretty significant one as well. Shadow Fiend is effectively IG's carry, though can't ignore the right-click damage that Ferrari is going to be doing. And now Ferrari looking for a turnaround on top. He's got one more Invis rune. There's the stun. Mu now in trouble. Veronica's trying to do what he can. Pops off the mech. Looks like they might be able to buy enough time. The slow as well from the boar, keeping Ferrari out of the way. And there we go. It's actually a kill picked up by Veronica. Great reaction from him as soon as that Invis and the stun popped. Getting back, and Mu only really surviving because of that mech charge. Hao diving all the way back behind the tower as well on bot. Able to kill off Faith. And I guess turning that immense mana pool on the Keeper of the Light against him with that mana void. So while everyone was entertained off on top lane, I mean, Shadow Fiend was dead and 2 heroes occupied between Chon and Ferrari. It meant that Hao could feel 100% safe to just dive the Cuddle and go for that kill, knowing that no TP support was going to be there. So YYF, Arcane Boots picked up, looking to head towards a Blink. Again, IG have got some fantastic teamfight. They've got a few heroes that would like to pick up some Blinks to try and make that happen, but they're still a ways away, and that gives the Anti-Mage space to farm. We've got really defensive wards up right now from Tongfu, even with this lane ward, trying to cover every single angle into the jungle. They've got this one covered, they've got the river covered, they don't quite have mid lane covered, but it's a little bit unlikely that IG would go that way, and even covering this tiny entrance down into the Radiant jungle, just to make sure that Hao is safe to continue to farm. And it's going to be a pretty fast Manta style for him as well. Poor man's shield now just flying out. Maybe selling that, perhaps? Yeah, that's going to be the case. So just a little bit more gold in his pockets. And Tongfu creeping up on mid. Only 4 here, and everyone dodging out of the way of the Illuminate. So suspecting that that was coming. Center wards go down, trying to assert a little bit more map control. And IG just haven't really found the pickoffs that I suspect that they would have liked to find. And IG with a sneaky smoke. It's only 2 heroes, using Zoe as bait. Hao comes in, looking for the farm, but YYF comes forward. Can he get the polarity off? There we go, there's the stun, there's the right click damage, and the tower picked up as well. Zoe threatening the Requiem just to make sure that those TPs are cancelled, and actually popping it off in the end. So Tongfu move up towards top, but a great smoke from IG. Just the right number of heroes to be able to kill off the Anti-Mage there. So well played by them. And Ferrari still just farming up. Might see a BKB or a Dezo for him. So that'll probably be coming up pretty soon. Could pick up a Mythal Hammer in just a second. Could even be a Manta style as well for him. Just to try and help out with these sieges and things like that. It is a little bit more common these days on the TA. And I mean, against the Anti-Mage, who's got more than max move speed just from having the Blink, it is nice to have that little bit of additional move speed from the Yasha. Long DD in trouble on mid. The Epicenter pops. Looks like he's going to be able to TP out. No! The Skewer drags him back. Long DD is probably not very long for this world. in the end will die. It was a very sneaky TP, and if he'd been able to get it off, would have been huge, especially with the epicenter committed to that kill. But in the end, IG do find it. It's still even on the scoreboard right now. How far? Well, falling a little bit behind in terms of the gold, but can flash farm a little bit better than the Shadow Fiend. But Zoe still making a good effort of clearing out these jungles. No, clearing out the jungle. Not sure why I'm pluralizing everything. Moo does now have his Necro 2 picked up, and IG, pretty defensive play from them. I mean, they've now got the Blink Dagger finished up on YYF. Maybe waiting for a blink on the SK, but that's going to be a long way away. And, I mean, the reverse polarity blink from YYF should be enough to initiate almost any fight. I mean, the only tier 1 tower remaining is this one down on bot, which is going to take a little bit more of a concentrated push to get down, since Tongfu probably looking to defend that one, since they really needed to keep control of their jungle, where Hao is just zipping through, picking up as much farm as he possibly can, and doing some split push as well as this anti-mage. So forcing Chon down towards bot just to try and deal with that wave. But yeah, I mentioned that it might be a pretty good Manta style timing for him, with that unfortunate death on top, slowed down a little bit, and what the heck? Oh, yep, so that's another kill going the way of Veronica and Moo. Probably a similar story to what happened before. Down. Again, map awareness just not there tonight. But yeah, I mean, Roar was used, double Ion Shell up, they've got the Necro minions just popping off the dust, Surge in. Probably a similar recipe to what happened last time. And Zoe farming up pretty aggressively. I mean, he could just be flash farming the jungle with Raze, but really wants those lane creeps with bonus XP. The Long DD is going to throw down the Shallow Grave immediately. And IG back off. They are down a hero right now. And Hao just split pushing on bot. Chon has the TP scroll. IG really wanted to push down mid a little bit, but this tier 2 not going to be falling easily. Faith, what is he heading towards? Looks like he's actually just going to deny this tower on mid, since Tongfu can just push in right now to try and pick that one up. And here's the smoke. It's actually going to be picked up by the Radiant. Faith backs off, and the boar comes into position. But the boar was smoked, so that might be a bit of a clue for IG right now. Long DD, Sansheng, and Moo still smoked up, though. His cosmetic items freaking out a little bit with that smoke animation as I hover over him. And Invis is there, not picked up, since that would be a blatant giveaway with the TA traps always going to be there. And Ferrari, double damage and the Invis for him. They're looking for Zoe one more time. And can they find him? He's actually in the neutrals right now, and well, Radiant Observer would have been spotting him out there. So, not sure what Tongfu are doing. Then they group up, and IG just choose to back off right now. Tongfu might be able to take the tower. They've got the Necro 3 up on the Beastmaster, so he's pretty well farmed right now. And Hao, now with the Manta style picked up, so still a pretty good timing for him, despite that death. And Tongfu, man up on the tower. Are IG going to be able to react in time? Faith is moving up that way, YYF as well. Chon all the way down on bot. He's got a TP, and so does Zoe. But Zoe's TP on a cooldown for at least a few seconds. So the tier 1 picked up for free by Tongfu. Gonna be happy with that exchange. A Ferrari drops low. What the heck was that? Just the Necro minions and the Ion Shell kill him off. Wow, I guess he must have killed the melee Necro minion somehow, since the range one is still alive, and then the pure damage just straight back at him. Because it doesn't look like anything significant was used. The Roar, nothing like that. YYF comes in looking for the Skewer, but yeah, a little bit incredulous that TA was actually killed there. I guess the Ion Shell maybe chewing through the refraction charges before she was able to kill off the Necro minion, and that damage just went straight back. So yeah, a little bit of a strange death for Ferrari there. And Zhao playing pretty aggressively again down on bot. Manta style now picked up for him. Still leading the farm ahead of Hao, who now just barely sneaks ahead. And again, slightly better flash farm than the Shadow Fiend. And IG with the 4-man smoke. They're looking for Zoe. Can they find him? He blinks away. Moo is now the target. Dust pops, gets the Necro minions down as well. Trying to turn around, gets down the Roar. How considering coming in, but there's 4 heroes here. Pops out the Manta Style, looking for YYF. Can they finish him off? Few more right clicks through, gets vacuumed back. That's 1 kill either way, and now the pipe pops as well. Zoe's the target. Can they find anything else? Now a buyback from YYF. Tron comes in with the stun. Veronica in trouble, a little bit out of position. How comes in, poison touch on Ferrari, completely out of mana. A few more right clicks gonna do it. The reverse polarity connects on 2. There's the Requiem of Souls, and over the top, everyone getting wiped, and the Illuminate. Huge damage over the top. That's the team fight combo for IG, and a 5-man wipe against Tongfu there. 2 kills picked up by them, but the buyback from YYF just securing all of those kills. And IG just gonna head straight into the Roshan pit while all of Tongfu are dead. And yeah, this should be absolutely no problem. They've already got a maxed out Presence of the Dark Lord on this level 18 Shadow Fiend, so Roshan just melting away. And Tongfu in no position to try and deal with this. Quick check in on the XP and gold. It was creeping up a little bit in terms of the Radiant's favor, but in a few seconds, expect that to probably be swinging back the opposite direction. And so now with that Aegis picked up, it's a pretty good opportunity for IG to try and make something happen. He's got some more gold in his coffers as well, so can pick up that next significant item pretty soon. Faith with the mech finished up, and Sean now with a blink as well. So there's 2 big blink initiators right now for IG, and this really does spell trouble. Tongfu still can rely on the anti-mage farming up, and now with some treads can use these, well, can use the Ring of Protection and the Ring of Regen to try and go towards the Vlads, but just using it for maybe a little bit more gold right now. But yeah, unfortunate team fight for Tongfu. They really committed. They could have just let Mu be picked off and have that be the end of it. But just the combo connecting in a big way from IG, picking up those kills. And IG just continued to farm. Ferrari's now got the 1 Mythal Hammer picked up. Might be a Desolator for him, but it might be a little bit redundant, in fact, just between the minus armor from the Presence of the Dark Lord and the Meld. And Necro Minions just scouting out Ferrari there, and the rest of IG as well. But Tongfu playing pretty defensively right now. They've got good aggressive vision, but no, actually pretty good overall vision right now. IG playing a little bit blind, in fact, and this can just come back to well, not only there's now a gem picked up on the Beastmaster and those Necro Minions, just obviously do have True Sight at rank 3, but I mean, earlier in the game we did see IG commit to having 4 wards up on the map, sort of in the mid game, and that means with the 6-minute cooldown that they won't be able to get more than 2 wards up at a time without going blind, at least for a little bit. And Tongfu trying to man up on this tower down on bot, but the teamfight combo isn't really on cooldown. YYF threatens the reverse polarity, but quickly running out of mana because of those Manta-style illusions. So Tongfu stay grouped up, but looks like Hao has his own plans, heading off to the side. And the board just keeping tabs on anyone moving through this angle as well. Mu's been doing a great job with all of his summons, keeping tabs on everyone, providing vision that Tongfu would just not normally have. And it's been a big deal in terms of all the decision making, keeping tabs on everyone on IG, and probably a big contributor in keeping the score as even as it is. I mean, it was a 5-2 wipe in that last team fight, so they were actually leading by a fairly significant margin for that fight. But yeah, XP and gold. Still pretty even, but taking a bit of a nosedive back towards the Dire side. They're not quite in their territory just yet. IG looking for a smoke gank right now. Where did they smoke? It might have been on top of a ward. Looks like it might not have been. How blinking onto the creep wave. They're looking for this kill. Tron's gonna blink, and there's the blink stun. Can they connect the rest of it? They're gonna pop the epicenter as well. But How with the blink away? But YYF is waiting for him. There's her first polarity. Is the damage gonna be there? Blink cooling off right now. The skewer backwards. And where's he gone? Just straight back down the lane. Blink gonna be off cooldown in just a second. Can he make it out? There's one more bar strike. This might be it for him. Oh, How. Just unfortunate. Couldn't get into the trees and try and TP out or anything like that. So, yeah, Tron just connecting those stuns perfectly. And How, down for 60 seconds, probably has the buyback up his sleeve, but really doesn't want to have to use it. This might be a few tier 2s picked up for IG. But yeah, just... I mean, great movement from an IG. They sent Sean in, they popped up the epicenter, they forced the blink, and then immediately YYF was there waiting with the reverse polarity. So committing quite a bit to pick up that kill, but worth it in the end. And Zoe picking up a solo kill on the Shadow Demon down on bot. Veronica looks like he wasn't quite well, wasn't quite close enough to use the mech or anything to try and keep him alive. And Shadow Fiend's right click, nothing to sneeze at, especially with the Helm of the Dominator and an Eagle Song picked up at this point. So, well, Vanguard now picked up on YYF, and IG are in a great spot right now. They pick up the tier 2 on top, absolutely no contest. How long do they have this Aegis in tow? Another 2 minutes, so might look to play up aggressively, try and make something happen with that. And I mean, it's now their turn to have really good offensive vision down. They've got tabs on everyone over on Tongfu, and just with that one team fight, everything turning around on Tongfu's head. They were the ones with the aggressive sight all the way up in the dire jungle. They were the ones who were just happily farming away, feeling safe with their position. But now, IG on the front foot and looking to secure this even further. They're probably now a little bit ahead in terms of gold, or at least going that way. The tower now picked up by Zoe, and his farm is getting a little bit out of control. Ken opts to pick up that butterfly in just a second. And Tongfu playing some pretty defensive Dota, but unfortunately their support's sort of falling off a little bit at this stage of the game, while the Burrow Strike and the Epicenter from the SK still staying relevant. I mean, they can help keep their damage dealers alive, but it's all sort of up to Anti-Mage to be doing the right-clicking in these fights. And what is he heading towards right now? Could outright buy a BKB in just a second. Yeah, 3,900 gold now picked up, so we'll see if it's going to be a BKB or maybe heading towards a heart. I mean, the heart would help against the right-click damage of IG as well, but he's being brought low by the chain stuns, though the reverse polarity is still going to be going through. So if he can die in the duration of that, just to the right-click from the Shadow Fiend and the TA, then the BKB not really going to be paying off, and Hao just farming up for now. Doing a little bit of split pushing, but there's no tier 2 tower or anything for him to take, and IG, not sure if they're going to have any of this, just heading straight down mid. Zoe immediately popping off the Manta style. Tower drops low, there's a disruption on the illusion. Sansheng dragged all the way back and immediately popped by Ferrari. Tongfu just falling apart a little bit here, and Sansheng maybe just a tiny bit out of position. You have to know that there's the potential there for the skewer back sort of at any time. Mu now with Vlad's picked up, so it has some good aura stack to help out the Anti-Mage for his damage, and has Hao bought up anything just yet. What's waiting on the courier? What's waiting somewhere? It's actually an Eagle Song picked up. So it looks like it's going to be a butterfly for him, and helps obviously against the right-click damage. Not a big help against the chain stun and the magical damage, which is helping in a big way to bring him down. And Ferrari now with the Desolator picked up. They've got, well, let's tally up the minus armor. There's 6, and then the Meld is 8, and then the Desolator is, well, Desolator is 6 as well. And I mean, the magic number is -20. You can't go any lower than that. And we're getting pretty close on some of these supports. Veronica, ton of armor picked up just with all of his items. He's such a high priority target to focus right now with the mech and the pipe. Needs to be extremely careful. Can't really play aggressively to try and get that wall down. If he's bursted down before he gets the pipe and the mech off, it does spell trouble. YYF comes in with the double reverse polarity, moves immediately to target for the right click, the skewer back. Veronica drops low. Well, there's the disruption, trying to buy a little bit of time for Veronica to make it out. He gets the wall down and the vacuum, but it's 3 already dead, trying to search himself away. Gem on the ground, ultra kill for Zoe there, and Chan pops off the Eclipse. Pops off the Epicenter. Lord knows why. Everyone's already dead, and 2 disconnects there from Tongfu. But yeah, good smoke from IG. They're now leading by 8 kills. Golden XP graphs won't update, I believe, during the pause, but it is sort of starting to head down a cliff in IG's favor. And the go now called. So going to be getting back into this game in just a sec. But this is looking pretty bad. Who's got buyback on the Radiant side? It's only Hao, and he's alive anyway. There's still a tier 2 down here for them to, well, walk right through, especially with the Desolator minus armor, and just the straight right click that Zoe is doing at the moment. In terms of net worth, he is now spiraling a little bit out of control with that ultra kill there, and even through backdoor protection, that tower is dropping low. Crypt Wave now in position, and IG going to be looking to turn this into a Rax. The wall was already used in that last team fight. Veronica might have been able to hold on to that. I mean, trying to turn the team fight around at the last minute, but all the supports were already dead. They get the minus armor down from the Dazzle. Mech pops off, and looks like the Rax is going to be falling in just a sec. Still waiting on Veronica to respawn. He's got the mech and the pipe, but no wall, and that's already 1 Rax picked up from IG, with all the commitment happening safely away in the Radiant jungle. And Illusion's just looking to finish up the range Drax, but IG got what they came for. And Roshan going to be up in about 1.5 minutes as well. So this timing is just, well, left, right, left for them. Know exactly what they're doing. And Hao and LongDD disconnecting again. Just so many connection issues in these games. And it's not nice to see, but I guess it is sometimes the reality of Dota 2. And more pauses galore, but trying to keep it entertaining all the same. It looks like it's just going to be a short pause this time around. But Tongfu, I mean, everything was really relying on the anti-mage to do damage, to really do anything in these team fights. Obviously the wall from the Darkseer and things like that are a big help. The wall vacuum, then the Battle Fury cleave over the top, but they didn't have the lockdown to combo with that. They didn't really have huge team fight ultimates, and really relying on anti-mage just be able to stand up to the damage, which at this point in the game he can't. There's just too much right click and even too much magical damage over on IG for him to deal with right now. And now with the resume, IG get a little bit of farm, probably just waiting around for Rosh. Might be a minor opportunity for Tongfu. And the wall is actually going to be off cooldown in just a second. So they could take a fight in the pit if they're feeling eager, but Magnus, reverse polarity is going to be off cooldown in just a second as well. And Faith, now with that gem, sort of denying Tongfu any semblance of map control right now. Hao does now finish up that butterfly. So a bit of a help against the right click, but 35% evasion, not boosting up his EHP all that much with only 1.6 HP. I mean, really needs a heart or something like that to sort of be unkillable. Well, not even unkillable, but to sort of have the survivability to do anything in these team fights. Just the right click from the TA and the SF is absolutely ridiculous. And Hao, another disconnect, another reconnect. It's got to be frustrating for him at this point, just with these connection issues. And, I mean, Tongfu's supports, they're all sort of there to help out the anti-mage. I mean, Dazzle's got some good minus armor from the weave. It helps, I mean, it helps a little bit against what the right-click damage that the TA and the SF are doing, but they've got a ton of minus armor in tow of their own. We already sort of tallied that up earlier on, and I mean, Sansheng doesn't bring all that much to these team fights. There's no big BKB target or anything like that that they need to purge, and just spamming off as much Shadow Poison as he possibly can before he dies. I mean, maybe a disruption on the anti-mage to try and get a few more right-clicking illusions up, but that's about the extent of it. But compare that to IG, where you've got, I mean, you've got the Sand King, who's got the potential to get multiple people in a burrow strike and then epicenter over the top for a lot of damage. And even if he doesn't get the epicenter off, he's at least forced out a stun or something like that, which TF don't really have all that many spare. And with the Blink Dagger, he's going to be reliably getting that epicenter off pretty much every time. And now a BKB coming online pretty soon too. It's roar or nothing for Tongfu to try and stop that epicenter. And Mu really needs to try and hold on to that roar for the Shadow Fiend or even the TA. And Ferrari now with crit picked up is going to have the Daedalus or Bioriza, whichever you want to call it, pretty soon. Hao still just continues to farm, but not all that close to anything all that big, and Roshan has now respawned. IG heading into the pit, and as soon as he was up, Roshan is gone. That's an Aegis going the way of IG, and so very wisely leaving the. He dominated the Necro Warrior. Wow, and there's a two-man reverse polarity. Hao gets the shallow grave, the skewer back, Hao and Mu out of position. Zoe gets roared. Hao trying to do what he can, right clicking through, but the epicenter comes in. Hao drops low. He drops. The wall is down. IG walking through that, and Zoe already dead. He did not have the Aegis, so dead for realsies. But now with a buyback from him, and is there a buyback for Hao or anything like that? LongDD is long gone. And Sansheng trying to do what he can. There's a disruption, but he's already slowed down in Chon. Getting in position. Burrow Strike's going to be off cooldown in just a second. Hao trying to man up right now, but there's the stun and just the right click from Ferrari. Way too much. The Skewer buying them a little time. Hao will be able to blink away. Pops off the Mantis style as well. Just needs a few more seconds to get into that blink. Things are looking pretty bad right now. I mean, there's a buyback for Veronica, but not able to do all that much. And yeah, this looks like it's going to be the end. Zoe respawns. MKB in tow, heading down mid, And IG going to be looking to finish this up with this final push. Tongfu going to be up in just a second, so maybe one last valiant defensive team fight from them. But Magnus only 30 seconds away from that reverse polarity. And a similar story for the wall. Cooldowns lining up very, very closely there. And oh, Veronica playing up aggressively, but he doesn't have the wall. And the tier 3 already down. Sansheng throws out the purge. But who was that on, in fact? Not 100% sure, and the ranged Rax falls at the same time down on bot. IG just back off until that reverse polarity is off cooldown, and then probably look to go with the next wave. And not sure what Tongfu can do to stop it. They've got the wall up in just a few seconds. The wall of Veronica's life might be able to buy them a little bit of time, but it's still a long walk to a Rax for them from this point. Top lane is pushing out a little bit, and Zoe has used his buyback already. So there are a few advantages going their way. And who actually has that Aegis? Who picked that one up? And I can't actually see, but someone will have to tell me. Maybe Ferrari died in that team fight and that was the Aegis for him. Not seeing it on anyone else right now. And Zoe definitely did not have it. But yeah, IG actually back off for now. Might just be looking to bait this out, though they are splitting up a little bit. So maybe just not feeling confident to push up onto the high ground against the Darkseer wall. Moon out with the Ghost Scepter picked up. Long DD heading towards an Ags. And again, just trying to get as much damage out from this Anti-Mage as they possibly can, eking every last little bit. And did manage to go to town at least for a few seconds during that shallow grave. Looking for a pickoff right now, but it's just illusions from Shadow Fiend. And oh, Keeper of Light actually killed off there by a half, so a little bit more gold in his pockets, but the kill on the support, well, the support Coddle, not the biggest deal in the world. But Tongfu, hold on for now. Hao is still farming up fairly well, still has a few more levels to get as well, but really needs to get a few big items in the next few minutes. I mean, they buy themselves a little bit of time for Faith to respawn, but IG, the farm is looking pretty overwhelming, over 12k gold in their favor, and 15k the XP swing as well, though that XP swing not really translating into any hugely significant levels. And YYF, now with an AC picked up, he's doing some pretty good right-click damage of his own. Never mind Ferrari and Shadow Fiend. Ferrari now with that Buriza or Daedalus finished up, and Hao split pushing a little bit down on bot, but again needs to be really careful of the chain lockdown, which IG do have. Mood split pushing a bit on mid. I mean, every team wants the lane control right now, since if they take a bad team fight, the lane control can buy them a few more seconds, but it's not the biggest deal in the world, and Tongfu really suffering, I mean, bleeding out a little bit since they have lost this Rax down on bot. I mean, if they can find a really advantageous team fight, if they can find pickoffs and then rolling pickoffs, they can turn this into 3 Rax. They can do it easily. IG are a really high level at the moment. It's a long time for them to respawn, and not all that many people holding on to buyback right now. I mean, Ferrari does have it, but Zoe, his is on cooldown for at least another minute. But he will have enough gold for it once that's cooled off. But if Tongfu can keep everyone alive and find a big team fight, they might be able to just charge down mid and then pick up 1 or 2 Rax. But it's not looking great. Mo split pushing a little bit up on top. Doesn't actually have a TP scroll, so needs to get over to that side chop in just a second and grab that one up. And the chase is on Hao down on bot. If he dies, this could be, well, that could be it. Zoe coming forward, maybe looking for a few one-shots here. And the reverse bloody pops as well. How did he Manta style that? Holy crap, it looks like he might not be able to escape. No, the blink off cooldown comes through. There's the TP. Can Chon guess this blindly? Not quite. Didn't actually click all the way through. That was a very short-range burrow for him. But yeah, looks like Hao managed to split the polarity there. That was crazy. Using that split second of invulnerability to avoid the reverse polarity. Props to Hao. I think he deserves a clap. That was ridiculous play from him, and saved his life in the end. The only real reason that he escaped that, if that stun had connected, Zoe would have had him dead in just a few more right clicks. And Zoe now with the Satanic picked up, about as farmed as SF can possibly be. Not holding on to buyback though, but even if he dies, I think then the cleanup squad of TA and even just the right click from the Magnus again should be no problem. They've got so much minus armor. They've got the minus armor from the AC, they've got a minus armor from the Dezo, they've got minus armor from Presence of the Dark Lord, and they've got the minus armor from Meld. So even with the extra EHP that Hao is getting from having the butterfly, it's not really doing all that much for him. Now heading towards an AC of his own, or maybe just sitting around on that naked plate mail. It will help out, but I mean, 30 armor, and there's more than that in terms of minus armor over on IG, but a good pickup and does help keep his other heroes alive for a little bit longer. Though the supports are a pretty easy kill. Long DD gonna pop off the Shallow Grave on mid, and Surge Dway looks like he might survive here. The nuke comes through the disruption. Sansheng might pay for that with his life. The Burrow Strike through. Zoe now turning to Mu. The reverse polarity pops on Hao, and Mu, the right clicks through. Can Hao make it out of this one alive? No, he cannot. And Mu buying a little bit of time with the Ghost Scepter. The mech pops. Buyback from Hao. The wall is down. Big wall. And Chon comes through with the Burrow Strike. Can these illusions do enough? Faith and Chon trying to make it out, but Zoe just manning up, able to kill off the second support, though it's still all the significant heroes alive for Tongfu, and they've got those wall illusions for a little bit. Looks like IG might just back off, perhaps, at least regroup with Zoe. And illusions doing some okay damage though. Ferrari just manning up against them with that refraction. Hao comes in, looking for damage on Zoe, but the skewer connects on him for at least a few seconds. There's the vacuum and the Shallow Grave, buying Hao a little bit of time to right click, but Zoe just manning up, pops out the Satanic. No problem for him, walks through the wall, but now hunting Long DD and Mu. Ghost Scepter not off cooldown, slowed down a little bit, but just a right clicking machine, and 3 dead on Tongfu. That's going to be the racks in just a few seconds. And probably just the Mega Creeps to ensure this game. A buyback now from the TA, but Zoe and YYF making very quick work of all of these buildings. And what have we got coming in? Sansheng trying to do what he can, throws out a little bit of Shadow Poison, but this is going to be Mega Creeps in just a second. And YYF able to get the Skewer back. Mu comes in, he's got the Roar available, throws it down on Zoe, and they've got the Shadow Fiend Illusions wailing away, though he does have the Satanic available. Pops with the Satanic, you can't actually lifesteal from Illusions, so I guess a little bit weird there to see him do that before turning for the hero. But the GG's going to be called by Sansheng, and IG not even opting for the Mega Creeps. GG's called, so just going straight for the tier 4s. So in the end, IG take this set. Will take this set 2-0, and that makes their standing in this group 2-0 right now. A valiant effort from Tongfu. A little bit weird in terms of the draft in game 1. A little bit of a stronger showing for them in game 2, and Ancient gonna fall in just a second, so very fast, very nice to see, fast score screen. So anyway, this has been G League. This was a best of 3 set between Tongfu and IG for Group B. As always, I am Baseskip. A reminder that Beyond the Summit and Join Dota are both covering these matches as well. If you'd like to send me any replays or anything like that to cast, anywhere where you see the name Baseskip, you should be fine to send a message through, and I'm happy to cover anything like that. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and hope to see you in future broadcasts.